The Hackberry Pi Zero, or the ADHD life hack device. What the hell is a Hackberry Pi Zero anyway? A handheld computer powered by Raspberry Pi Zero 2W. It's got a 4-inch 720 by 720 pixel color LCD screen. It comes with the original backlit BlackBerry keyboard, 3, count them, 1, 2, 3, USB 2.0 ports, access to the Pi's mini HDMI port on the top of the unit, USB-C charging port on the bottom of the unit, a convenient micro SD, aka tiny flash slot on the left side of the unit, and 2 lithium-ion batteries. What can it do besides look really cool? All this stuff. Plan your productivity using various apps such as Calculus, LibreOffice, and more free software. Play games to pass the time in DOSBox or any other emulator, really. In addition to many Linux native games you can install through your distribution's package manager, run almost any Linux distro compatible with the Raspberry Pi Zero 2W. Help you plan a video for YouTube about the Hackberry Pi Zero. No, really. Trust me on that one. Use USB 2.0 compatible peripherals like mouse, keyboard, gamepad, webcams, and more. Make people ask questions about what it is. It looks like an old BlackBerry phone, but somehow much cooler. You can keep your contact information in it too, in case you actually have friends. Some of us do. I don't know. Some of us do. Did I mention it looks really cool? I did? Alright, fine. Next slide then. What can't it do? Audio. Without USB, you're not getting audio. It's a ARM-based processor, so you're not going to run Windows or any other demanding PC software. Don't feed it after midnight. That's very important. But you can definitely charge your battery whenever you like. It's probably not waterproof. It does not work with third-party SBCs like the Banana Pi, unfortunately. And if you're not a fan of Linux, this is not for you. For most of my time using the device, I just use the shell, aka the terminal. But when I need a graphical environment, I can call it my IceWM/LXDE combo by using the command startx without the quotes. And I will have full access to the Diet Pi operating system graphical user interface, which comes with a wealth of free software. And if there's an application I need but don't have, I can usually install the Debian package for it from the repo or via a third party. For example, when I want to load my old Commodore 64 programs, I can just run the Vice emulator with the command x64, or I can even pull it from the menus on the GUI itself. Remember, people, this is not a toy. I just use it as one when I'm bored. I will say one thing about this emulation. It is usually very, very slow. Using the Commodore 64 emulator Vice, it's painfully slow. It literally took me 15 minutes to come up with this screen you see here in the emulator on your right of this screen. Not because I am slow, but that's not the point. But I am not slow enough at the keyboard for the emulator to keep up with my typing. So instead of what more modern computers do, when you type out and it can't keep up, it just plays catch up. These old 8-bit computers usually just did what they thought they heard. When you were pressing the key, if it was listening or if it was paying attention or not, and it was in cycles, basically. So yeah, it took me about 15 minutes to type out this basic program here on the emulator. Unfortunately, it's not even as fast as a real Commodore 64. But remember when I said this was the ADHD life hack remote control? Yeah, I bet that got your attention. That's why it's called clickbait. But usually clickbait is just BS that someone makes up to get you to watch their video. Not me. The Hackberry Pi Zero is really my go-to for planning. Here you can plainly see a terminal running the console day planning app Calculus. Kind of cool, ain't it? So, of course, back to emulators. Remember when I said you can't run demanding PC software on the Hackberry Pi Zero? I kind of lied. I kind of didn't. You can, but you can't. You can run my favorite DOS application, Windows 3.1. Watch this. Da-da! Yeah, Windows 3. Windows 3.1 runs better on this than it did on my old 486 back in 1994. Not sure why DOSBox, a 16-bit system emulator, works better on a Pi than any 8-bit emulator I throw at it. But I'm totally up to hearing advice on how to improve and the performance on the 8-bit systems and how to speed up the Linux boot process overall. My conclusion is, even though it's only half a gig of RAM on a RISC-based ARM-based CPU that can only do what a Raspberry Pi Zero 2W can do, and I don't like Raspberry Pis as much as their competition, I still think this thing is awesome. That being said, the creator, Teotech, has recently released a version of the Compute Module 5 version of the Hackberry Pi, which is a more powerful CPU. I think up to 8 gigs of RAM, I'm not sure. I think he also added a touchscreen, but I'm not sure. I want to get one, but I got more pressing matters, such as PlayStation 5 coming to me financially before I can afford this. The Hackberry Pi Zero is not as powerful as the Clockwork Pi U console, supposedly. Mine is still in shipping, so I'll let you know around Christmas or whenever it arrives. About the only thing I didn't expect that kind of upset me was the thing's battery life sucks. I'm not sure why that is, or if it's just me because I run a lot of apps on it, but I love this thing. It just has to be plugged in pretty much whenever I can have it plugged in. I wish I got the CM5 version, but I did not know it was coming out until like 3 days after I had ordered the Zero. And now that Rockstar Games has announced a date for launch of Grand Theft Auto 6, I feel like giving my money to Sony for a PlayStation 5 is a little more important than upgrading to an esoteric pocket computer, if you will. But hey, that's what it is. YouTube, help me. Watch this. And yes, I am going to fast forward this. This is not a specific Hackberry Pi Zero issue. This is a Linux operating system issue. But you will find that it takes a very long time for it to boot, to the point in which I'm considering switching operating systems to TinyCore. I've got another SD card here containing TinyCore with Wi-Fi configured. On the back panel, you have a, let's see here, let's get this open. Raspberry Pi Zero 2W. The SD card is not here. I wanted to install it here for security, but I cannot because the plastic enclosure is too close to the cutoff. So I would need a Dremel or something like that I don't want to do just yet. Don't know how they got in there. You'll find that you've got 2 original Nokia lithium-ion batteries. And that's it for the back panel and its cutouts. Give me just a moment. There we go. You will see that it is still attempting to boot into Diet Pi Linux. It used to boot much faster than this. I changed the configuration in an attempt to make it boot faster. This, I don't know if it's a reversible process or if I'm going to have to reflash the image, but I would like to fix it before trying to reflash an operating system image onto this. Excuse me. You will see this is where the tiny flash card goes. This switch here is to turn off the keyboard Watch this. You will see when it goes dead. Not to say it goes completely dead. It depends on what the operating system is doing. If the operating system is still trying to access it, it can potentially glitch out. I don't know how it all works out with this because I don't know the circuitry. But yeah, it's not a straight USB kill switch, I don't think, or a 5-volt kill. This, however, is the power button that will turn it off if you switch it this way, which I need to do soon. As you can see, my battery is less than 25%. Okay, so on this other SD card, original here, I have the fastest boot time I have ever seen on a Raspberry Pi. Watch this. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 7 seconds, oops seconds, whatever seconds, and boom, we're in. And since I boot directly to the computer's memory instead of relying on the storage medium here, I really could just pull that out and not risk any damage whatsoever to the files on that device. The same cannot be said about Diet Pi and its incredibly long boot time. And yes, I plugged it in just so I could show you how long this takes now. Help me fix this, please. Unless I really am just better off reflashing the image, which I got files on here I want to keep, so I'll back them up first. But yeah. This one to me is more worth keeping because I have things the way I like them. It just takes too long to boot. The breadwinner, as I want to call it, is Pi Core OS Linux, because it has an incredibly fast boot time. We would have been booted into it twice or even thrice, if that's a word, by now, and we're still waiting on this. I swear this was about a 10 to 12 second boot time, if I was counting, which I wasn't. But this is a little computer thingy that I keep with me all the time when you see me taking notes when you're talking to me, and I'm in my own little world. I'm not really in my own little world. I'm actually trying to pay attention and program into my brain by programming into this little computer. That's why I call it the ADHD life hack remote, man. It's not a smartphone. It does require Wi-Fi for certain features. But yeah, I've got Facebook Messenger on this thing, and Caprine actually. But yeah, that thing is pretty nice too. It's just incredibly slow on this Raspberry Pi hardware. If there was a more powerful CM5 version out there, maybe. But yeah. We are still waiting to boot into this operating system completely. By completely, I mean to the point of the shell, terminal. The graphical interface is going to come later. And that's actually a pretty fast process for this thing. There we go. I think I'm at the point where I want to just reflash the image after I do a backup. But watch this. STARTX. Enter. I know it's extremely blurry. This is a 720. It's the best in my budget right now. Especially since this screen is a 720 by 720, which is really weird, but I kind of like it. Because it fits certain 4x3 application windows perfectly. I would do HDMI capture through this, but I have not yet figured out how to simulcast the contents of the screen to the HDMI port up here. But yeah, watch this button. Boom. Kill switch for the LED's backlight. Or LCD backlight, I think. Let's see. Yeah, this is, I think, is a LCD. There's a trick you can do that. It was more prevalent on older screens with LCDs. If you put very gentle pressure, and I mean extremely gentle, onto the screen, it would like kind of like alter the color. Don't do that though. Don't do that. Try doing this and look at it from the side, and if it looks weird on the side, it's probably still an LCD. LED, this is not it. Because I know that because I looked at this in direct sunlight and I could still see what was on the screen. So this is an LCD. Anyway, going into the games menu, DOSBox emulator. And as I said earlier, my favorite DOS program ever. I'm sorry to the Linux community, but it is Windows 3.1. Da-da. Alright, so let's close that out. I have a shortcut that I've made for this that bypasses the window manager here. As I log out, get back to the shell prompt, I can type in MS-DOS and it brings me into the same situation. But full screen completely. No window manager outside of this or anything. I can literally just have free reign over the Windows 3.1 desktop with my cursor here. And that's how I like to do it, because it's more convenient from the shell instead of trying to launch the graphical interface. I showed you CalCurse. I'm going to show you something a little different though on Windows 3.1. Oops, I fucked up. Open personal.cal. And I will... It kind of glitches out from time to time, the mouse on here, especially on this application. but I have all the appointments of that day not on here because I forgot to put it in here, but I can go back to, let's see here, view month, and I can go back in time to, I think it was Friday. Yep. And you'll see that there's a note there. I don't know if you can actually read it, but it's there. It's a reminder of a birthday. So it's a very cumbersome device because of the keyboard and interface, but it's quirky and I like that. It really is. Like me. I'm going to be honest with you. Calculator, scientific, but you can switch that because, you know, this is the full-on Windows 3.1 experience on a handheld device. I could probably play Doom on this thing. Can I play Crysis? Nah, get out of here. But yeah, I can play Doom on this thing, probably. I'll find out in a future video. I gotta go find myself a copy of Doom. Close out. That's why I want to keep... The other reason I want to keep the... other operating system image handy is I can't just cut this off and not risk file system damage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to risk file system damage because I'm an impatient asshole and cut the system off. I want to invest some time into learning the Pi core system to the point of it being as useful as Diet Pi. So all in all, do I recommend it? If you're like me, yes. Yes. If you're not like me, I don't know, try one. See if you like it. You might. Especially if you're like into software and tinkering and just fucking around with shit in general. 10 out of 10. Go get you one.